Hello, everyone, and a fantastically warm welcome to the one and only global online quiz. My name is Jelinka. As always, it's my pleasure to be your quizmaster. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the studio in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, where, as you can see, it's Bob and myself ready, fired up and ready to go to present to you with yet another brand new batch of questions. Now, if you're joining us live for the premiere of this quiz, then you can also say hi to the lovely Guido, who is our moderator on the chat today and who will be very interested to learn where you guys are playing from. So don't be shy, say hi to the other teams and to Guido on the chat if you're joining us live for the quiz premiere. Before we get you started, I will explain what you can expect from today's quiz, because we do always hope we have some new players in the house as well. The most important thing you need to know is that this quiz is all about the fun. You're going to be checking your own answers, keeping score yourselves today, and I'll tell you exactly how to do that as we progress through the game. If you're playing with multiple teams in a local competition, then it might be a really fun idea to swap sheets with another team after each round so you can check each other's answers. That's just a tip from us. And if you want to maybe share some team photos with us or results from today's quiz, and this is the link to use for all of that. So it takes you to a landing page where you can then do several things. You can say hi to us on WhatsApp. You can submit your score at the end of the game, which I really hope you'll all do. And finally, you can also make a contribution if you find yourself enjoying today's quiz and want to help us cover some of the time that went into producing it. So that is what the link is for, and it's going to show up on screen multiple times throughout the game. Now, having said that, we appreciate it if you submit your scores. It's still really fun to see how you're doing throughout the evening. If you're joining us live, then also share your results with our moderator Guido on the chat and with the other teams, of course, who are joining live. We have printable answer sheets available. You can grab those off of our website. If you haven't done that, then don't worry about it. You can just grab any old sheets of paper, number them 1 to 10 from top to bottom, and be ready to go. So that is the answer sheets. There's one rule to this game, a rather obvious one, I think. We don't allow the use of any aids other than your collective brains. So please keep it fair and submit the correct score to us, of course, by the end of the game. We've got 6 rounds, as always, coming your way. We're going to kick off in a moment with a picture round. After that, we have some general knowledge and some themed rounds coming your way. And we'll finish, as we always do, on a music round. We'll have a break, a 5-minute break as well. We'll do that after round 3. So that is today's program, and I suggest we get you cracking now on our first round of questions, the picture round. For this round, I simply explain what the plan is, and then I leave you to it as a team. We find it's a great way to ease into the game. So for this week's picture round, what we have found you are 10 images, or sometimes it's a collection of multiple images of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And it's the nature edition. So it's all nature sites, UNESCO World Heritage Sites that are focused on nature around the globe. We're going to give you on screen 16 countries to choose from as well. That means that you'll only be using 10 because there's 10 photos. There are 6 decoys in the bunch. And I, of course, hope that you'll be able to avoid using any of them. Hopefully, they'll remain unused. So each photo will appear on screen. Then the suggestions for the countries will slide into the screen as well, allowing you to make a selection. Each photo will stay on screen for 20 seconds. Then it's going to automatically roll around to the next one. And then at the end, you get them all in miniature, allowing you to finalize your answers. So identify the 10 countries where these nature sites can be found. Let's see if you can get them all for round 1. Okay, that is it for round number one. That means it's now time to swap seats if you are in a local competition, because we're going to have a joint look at those answers for this first round of questions. I hope you enjoyed it and that it wasn't too tricky for you. Not the easiest one that we've done for some time, I don't think, but I could be wrong. Maybe you got all of them and got a perfect 10. This first one, this is Canaima National Park. We also see Salto Angel, the world's tallest waterfall in Venezuela. So the correct answer was P, Venezuela. Next up, we were in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. That is what we're looking at. So O was the correct answer, the United States. O. Next up, we traveled to Africa, Kilimanjaro National Park. In answer M, Tanzania is where you should have put this photograph. And then we went to Europe for number 4, because this beautiful fjord here is the West Norwegian fjord in Norway. Next up, we travel to the Americas. The monarch butterfly biosphere reserve can be found in Mexico. Truly a remarkable place. Stunning photos. If you Google it, you can find some really beautiful pictures. For number 6, we travel to the Hierapolis Pamukkale site, and that is in Turkey. Turkey for this beautiful scene right here. And next up, the Cerrado, Brazil. B was the correct answer here, Brazil. And for number 8, that was G, Malaysia. This is the Gunung National Park that we see, also another really remarkable, unique site. For number 9, we travel to beautiful Indonesia. This is Komodo National Park, hence the Komodo dragons in the photo there. So that was E, Indonesia. And then finally, Ulurakata National Park in Australia. A, Australia was the correct answer for number 10. And this is the moment to let Guido and the other teams know how you are doing on the chat, assuming that you're joining us live. And otherwise, take a minute to calculate your score and to write it down towards your grand total for later on. So we'll give you a minute now, and then we'll go into round number 2. Okay, and now it's time for our first mixed bag round of questions. And of course, it is a long-standing tradition that we kick off round number 2 with a fun with flags question. I think Guido's come up with an interesting one for you. This was Guido's suggestion, one of many that he made for this quiz. For this one, we're going to have a look at last year's FIFA World Cup. Can you tell me which 2 countries reached the knockout stage of the World Cup and do not have the color red in their flag? So there are 2 nations that reached the knockout stage of the 2022 FIFA World Cup and do not have a single shred of the color red in their flags. And the names of those countries are worth half a point each on number 1. On to number 2, and we sort of stick with the topic of sports for this one. In the world of sports, there are a lot of venues around the world that include the word park in their name. I'm about to give you the names of 4 such venues, and I'll also name the country where each one can be found. And the question is, can you identify the sport that is most commonly played in each of these venues? So what is the sport that can be mainly watched at each venue? We have A, Fenway Park, which is in the United States. We have B, Villa Park, which is in England. We have C, Thomond Park, which is in Ireland. And finally, D, Cardinia Park, which is in Australia. So can you name the sport that is most commonly played in each of these venues with the word park in their name? On to number 3 we go. Another long-standing tradition, the picture connection. Once again, we see four seemingly unrelated photographs, and yet there is something to logically tie them together. So have a good look at everything and everyone you see and try and find the one-word connection between these pictures. On to question number 4. For this one, I'm in search of a term, and the term in question was first used by Sir Walter Scott in his novel Ivanhoe. In the book, he uses it to describe the story of a medieval mercenary whose weapon did not belong to any landowner, but whose services were available for payment. What word, which has since adopted a bit of a different meaning in the modern employment market, did Sir Walter Scott use in Ivanhoe? So a word which basically meant a medieval mercenary whose weapon did not belong to any landowner, but whose services were available for payment. And it has a bit of a different meaning nowadays within the modern employment market. On to question number 5. What we see here are 3 Barbie dolls from Barbie's Inspiring Women series, which I think is such a wonderful idea. Well done, Mattel. Can you identify each of the inspiring women that these dolls were modeled after? So identify the 3 inspiring women based on the Barbie dolls made in their honor. On to question 6 we go. In the animated film Cars from 2006, most of the cars are driving around on a fictional brand of tires. And the name of that tire brand is both a nod to a well-known existing tire manufacturer. It's also a reference to a famous character from the Toy Story universe. What is that fictional tire brand that the cars in the animated film Cars drive around on? And into question number 7, we dive. What we see here is a pest exclusion fence that was built in Australia during the 1880s to keep a specific animal out of the relatively fertile southeastern part of the continent and to protect the sheep flocks of southern Queensland. It's one of the longest structures in the world, stretching an incredible 5,614 kilometers from Jimber on the Darling Downs near Dalby through thousands of kilometers of arid land ending west of Eyre Peninsula on cliffs of the Nullarbor Plain. What animal is this fence designed to keep out? So it was specifically put in place to keep a certain animal out. Which animal might that be? On to question 8. There are a number of professional wrestlers who've gone on to try their hand at acting, and some of them have even portrayed superheroes or super villains. We see 4 of them here in character playing those superheroes and villains in question. And what I'm looking for is the name of the wrestler. So identify the 4 wrestlers. And if you think that's a bit easy because this is really your thing, then for a bit of added fun, try and guess all the characters as well. But you'll get the points for the proper names of each of these wrestlers turned actors. On to number 9 we go. While first produced in Roman times, this type of glass actually became popular in the mid-19th century because of the green glowing fluorescent effect it gives off. The effect is the result of using a radioactive element in the melting process, usually in oxide diurenate form. Use of the radioactive element was curtailed during the Cold War, which in turn marked the end of the popularity of this type of glass. While it is safe in use, a sufficiently sensitive Geiger counter will register the radiation that is present. Which element is used in the production of this glass is my question to you. So it was, discontinued following the Cold War. But do you recall which element they used to use in the production of this type of glass? And last but not least, here comes number 10. Now, regulars will know what that means. It's time for a video connection. We've got 3 short clips for you. They could be from famous movies or television shows. Pay close attention to everything and everyone you see, and also particularly take note of any titles of these films that you may recognize, because I'm looking for something to logically connect them all. So let's see if you can figure out what the connection is.
Hello? Who's that? Oh, hi. What are you doing out in this mess?
1, 2, you're doomed. You're all doomed.
Nevermore continues to be a place where the questions far outweigh the answers. I won't stop until I find the truth. I know the suspense is killing you.
All right, that concludes round number 2. So our first mixed bag round of questions. As always, we'll give you a little bit more wrap-up time as soon as the timer runs out. You put your pens down, swap sheets if you're in a local competition, and we'll go straight into revealing the answers. And welcome back, guys. Time to swap sheets. If you are indeed part of a local competition, here come the answers for round 2. So first up, we asked you about those nations that made it into the knockout stage of the most recent World Cup and didn't feature a single bit of red in their national flags. And here we have them. They are Brazil and Argentina for half a point each. Number 2, the sports venues. Now, I thought this was very tricky, but perhaps you thought not so much. We'll find out. First up, Fenway Park, home to the Boston Red Sox. Baseball is played here. Next up, Villa Park, home to Aston Villa. They play football. Or if you're enjoying this quiz stateside, then you might have written soccer. Perfectly acceptable as well, of course. C, Thomond Park in Ireland. They're home to Munster, where they play rugby. And finally, home to Geelong. Cardinia Park is Aussie rules football that they play there. So for half point each, these were the sports we were in search of. Next up, we had the picture connection. We see Adam Driver, that golf club up there is also a driver. We see Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver. Finally, we see Mini Driver. Drivers all around for number 3. 1 point if you manage to get that. Number 4, Sir Walter Scott was the first person to use the word freelance in his novel Ivanhoe. And I guess you can see now why that's taken on a bit of a different meaning. Great job if you got that. On to number 5, the 3 Barbie dolls. And here we see the women who they were based on. First up, Billie Jean King. Then we also have Rosa Parks. And finally, Florence Nightingale inspired Barbie number 3, or Barbie C, I should say, for half point each. Number 6, the animated film Cars. They drive around on Lightyear tires, which is, of course, for Buzz Lightyear, but it's also a bit of a play on the tire brand Goodyear. Number 7, the fence is meant to keep out these guys, dingoes. It's called the Great Dingo Fence, and I think it's the longest fence of its kind anywhere in the world. Number 8, the professional wrestlers were worth half point each. So the first one is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Next we have Dave Bautista. We had, of course, Hulk Hogan. And we had John Cena. Now, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is playing Black Adam there, just if you were keeping track of it, seeing if you managed to get all of them. Drax the Destroyer is the character that Dave Bautista is portraying. Hulk Hogan is Suburban Commando here. And John Cena is Peacemaker, which is a really interesting show, actually. First produced in Roman times, this is uranium glass. So uranium is the element we were in search of. And finally, for number 10, we had the movie Friday the 13th. We had Saturday Night Fever and the new wonderful show that's being really well received, Wednesday. So they all had a day of the week in the title. That is what earned you the final point here. You could have earned 12.5 points on this mixed bag round. So again, we'll give you a minute now to calculate your score. And again, if you're joining us live, don't forget to share your results with Guido and the other teams on the chat. And with that, we've arrived at round number 3. Another long-standing tradition is that this is a themed round. And it's a brand new theme that Guido came up with, and we're really curious to learn if you like this idea. It is a round of one-letter differences. For every question, we'll be looking for 2 answers. For instance, Agra and Agora. Here we have an example. And as you can see, there's a single letter. That is the only difference between these answers. And to get that second answer, you don't have to mix up the letters ever, but the second letter can be added anywhere in the answer. It can be at the front, at the end, or in the case of Agra and Agora, it is smack dab in the middle. So that is what we know. For each question, there is basically 2 questions. So both of those answers are what you need to get. And then also make a note of that letter that actually forms the difference. So in this case, that would be the letter O, because for the final question, we'll be needing all of those letters and we'll ask you to form a word with them. So your final answer on this round is a word that can be formed using those single letter differences here. So I hope it's all clear for you. If not, it will soon become clear when I start throwing questions at you, which we'll do right now. Question number 1. For this one, I need the SI unit of electrical potential and electromotive force. That is the first half of your answer. Then add a single letter to this SI unit to get the name of a river in Western Africa. It flows through Burkina Faso and reaches the Atlantic via Ghana. So give me that river and the SI unit of electrical potential. Now, don't forget to also mark those letters so you can start working on that final word straight away when we arrive at question number 10. For number 2, we start with the first name of Rocky Balboa's girlfriend, and you can add 1 letter to her name to get the name of the Roman emperor who's famous for the wall he built in northern England. So Rocky Balboa's girlfriend and that Roman emperor who rather famously built a wall in northern England. For number 3, we start with a school of Mahayana Buddhism originating in China It emphasizes self-restraint, meditation practice, and insight into the nature of the mind. And if you have the name of that school of Buddhism, then you can add a single letter to get the name of a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher who is known for his paradoxes. So, school of Buddhism and a Greek philosopher. For number 4, we kick off with a skateboarding trick where the rider and board leap into the air without the use of the rider's hands. And if you add a single letter to the name of that trick, you get the name of a distinctive type of herding dog, which is famous from the television show Lassie. So name that trick and name the dog. For number 5, I'm looking for the name of this British supermodel who rose to fame in the early 90s and is especially known for her collaboration with Calvin Klein. And if you add a letter to her name, you get the name of a British novelist known for her novels Labyrinth, Sepulchre, and Citadel. So name the supermodel and name the British novelist. On to number 6 we go. For this one, I'm looking for a papal name used most recently by a pope from 1939 to 1958. And if we add a single letter to that name, we get the name of a hybrid type of car produced by Toyota. So a hybrid car produced by Toyota, and the name used by several popes, most recently from 1939 to 1958. Question number 7. For this one, we kick off with a dimensional real estate game. It was created in 1986, and in this game, players have to build resorts. That is kind of the aim of the game. Now, if we add a single letter to the name of this game, we get a 2005 American horror film about a group of American tourists who end up in Slovakia. So name that real estate game, then add a single letter to get the name of that horror movie. On to number 8, where we start off with the movie once more. This time it's a 1995 crime thriller directed by David Fincher and starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. So that is the first part of the puzzle. Then if you add a single letter to the name of that rather iconic film, you get the longest river in Great Britain. So let's see if you can get both answers for number 8. For number 9, we start with an element that is used in the production of chips. It has the atomic number 14. And if we add a single letter to the name of this, then we get a polymer used in several applications, ranging from building construction to cosmetic surgery. So start off with that element with atomic number 14, then add a single letter to give you the name of that polymer we seek. And now the real puzzle begins. For number 10, with the 9 letters you've hopefully just been able to identify, you can form a word. And I'll give you a bit of an extra clue as well. The word we see can be linked to such names as secretariat, man o' war, sea biscuit, and red rum. So give me that 9-letter word that you hopefully managed to form using those letters for the final point on number 10. Okay, a whole lot of questions with fairly similar answers for the most part, though. So hopefully that helped you out a bit in getting many correct ones. We'll give you a minute now to finalize your answers, and then you know the drill by now. You drop those pens and we go into revealing what they should have been. Right, welcome back, guys. Time to swap sheets if you are in a local competition. Here we go with the answers to our new theme round. And afterwards, if you're joining us live, do let Guido know how you enjoyed this new theme, if that's something that you would like to see in the future. And also, if you're not joining us live, all of these types of comments you can submit along with your final score, of course. And it's nice to see that a lot of you do that, actually, that you send us little messages along with your results. For round 3, number 1, the SI unit of electrical potential and electromotive force is volt. And that river we were in search of is the Volta. So volt and Volta, and that gave you the letter A. Next up, for number 2, Rocky Balboa's girlfriend is Adrian. And then that wall was built by Hadrian. So Adrian and Hadrian. As you can see, we've put the 1-point marker on all of these answers because we assume that if you got one of the answers, then you had a good chance of getting the other. However, if we were wrong in that assumption and maybe you got half bits of the answers left and right, then feel free to award yourselves half marks. For number 3, the school of Mahayana Buddhism that I was in search of is Zen Buddhism, and that philosopher is Zeno. So Zen and Zeno, and giving you the letter O to carry on with then for the puzzle. Number 4, skateboarding trick, that is the Ollie, and the dog in question is a collie. Ollie and collie on number 4. And for number 5, the British supermodel, and that author has a very similar name. It's Kate Moss, and Kate Moss with an extra E at the end there. For number 6, that papal name, and then the hybrid Toyota, it is Pius and the Prius that we saw. Pius and Prius, giving you an R for that puzzle. Number 7, the dimensional real estate game I was in search of, that would be Hotel, and Hostel is that movie, which is really quite gory. Oof, took me a while to recover from watching that one. Number 8, also pretty gory, 7 and the river Severn. So 7 and 7 for half point each if you like. If you perhaps only got one of them, no problem. Number 9, the element used in the production of chips, that would be silicone. And then there's silicone, that is used in both construction and cosmetic surgery. And for number 10, the 9 letters that you found could be put together to give you the word racehorse, which is what Secretariat, Man o' War, Seabiscuit, and Red Rum are all famous examples of. So that concludes round 3. You made it to the halfway mark of this quiz. As always, a bit of time to calculate your score will be given now, and don't forget to share your results on the chat once more, or make a note towards your grand total. Okay, and with that, you have earned yourselves a little break. So we'll do that now. We're giving you a 5-minute break to refresh your drinks, do a bit more socializing on the chat if you're joining us live, perhaps, and a bit of light stretching. Get ready for part 2 of the quiz, which includes another mixed bag round, another themed round, and of course, the grand finale in the form of music. At the end of the quiz, by the way, I'll also be making a special announcement, so be sure to stay tuned till the end. But first, here comes that 5-minute break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of today's quiz. We've got 3 more rounds coming your way. Round number 4 being the next one, and then that is our final mixed bag. So a bit of general knowledge. As always, I'd like to draw your attention to this link, which was already up on screen during the break. Our regulars know exactly where I'm going with this. If you found yourself enjoying today's quiz and you'd like to help us out a bit in covering some of the hours that went into lovingly producing it for you, then you can use this link to make a contribution. Any amount that you find fair would be greatly appreciated in covering some of that time that we put into making these quizzes. And a special thank you to everyone who's already chipped in. And also during our previous editions, we had one team who even donated $100 over Christmas, which was crazy. You know who you guys are. Thank you very much. That's appreciated. And of course, it doesn't have to be $100. Any amount you find fair will do very nicely. But thank you, guys. On to round 4, our mixed bag round. And we're going to kick it off with a bit of a brain teaser, a sports-themed brain teaser. And that is, can you tell me, in terms of area, what is the largest country in the world to have never hosted a FIFA World Cup or Olympics? So a bit of a questionable honor to hold the largest nation in the world to never have hosted a World Cup and to never have hosted Olympic Games. Which country might that be? On food and drink, that is the topic for our next question. I do have to say, perhaps it's not the food and drink question for all of you out there. It is a question entirely on the topic of fermented foods that we've prepared for you for this particular quiz. And I'm going to give you a short description of all of the foods we are looking at right now. In photo A, we see a traditional Sardinian sheep milk cheese. And what is interesting about this particular variety of cheese is that it contains live insect larvae, or maggots, if you like. So a maggoty sheep's cheese from Sardinia. I'm looking for its name, and that goes for all of these other foods as well. Photo B, a Chinese form of fermented tofu that has a strong odor. It's often sold in roadside stands as a snack or a side dish rather than in restaurants. Photo C, we're going to stay in China for this dish. It's a Chinese egg-based culinary dish. It's made by preserving duck, chicken, or quail eggs in a mixture of clay, ash, salt, quicklime, and rice hulls for several weeks to several months, which is why they end up looking the way they do. And in photo D, we have a traditional Japanese seasoning in the form of a thick paste. It's produced by fermenting soybeans with salt and koji mold. So these are our 4 dishes, and now I would like from you the proper name for each one. On to number 3, our second picture connection for today's quiz. Again, we have some seemingly unrelated images, but there is a connection to be found between them. What logically connects them all is the question. Number 4, we're going to put some sporting numbers in order from lowest to highest, please. I have 4 facts, or basically numbers. You need to deduce the number, and then based on that number, you put them in order. So the first one I have for you is A, the number of balls on a snooker table at the start of a frame in snooker. B, the maximum number of clubs that are permitted in a golf bag for a round of golf. C is the number of players on an Australian rules team at the start of a match. So an Aussie rules football team at the start of a match, how many players will be on the field, on the pitch. And then finally, D, the length of a tennis court to the closest meter. So if you can put these in order from lowest to highest, you can earn yourselves a point here. On to some literature we go for number 5. We're going to give you 3 books that each have a geographical feature in the title. Can you give me the name of that feature to complete the book title? We have Thomas Mann's The Magic Something. We have Dennis Lehane's Mystic Something. And finally, Malcolm Lowry, Under the Something. So what are those 3 geographical features to complete these book titles? On to question number 6 that has everything to do with this chair here. The chair was designed by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe and Lilly Reich for the German pavilion at the International Expo of 1929. Almost 100 years old, this design has withstood the test of time, hasn't it? Still a classic. And the chair takes its name not from its designers or the pavilion it was designed for, but rather from the city that played host to the World Expo that year. What is the name of this chair? So designed for the International Exposition of 1929, which city hosted it and thus lent its name to this classic chair design? On to number 7. The dam we see in the photo here is one of the world's largest embankment dams. Built between 1960 and 1970 across the River Nile in southern Egypt, it was seen as pivotal to Egypt's planned industrialization, with its ability to better control flooding, provide increased water storage, irrigation, and to generate hydroelectricity. The dam is named after the nearby city in southern Egypt. What is the name of this rather important dam, one of the world's largest embankment dams? Okay, on to number 8 we go. What we see are 4 alcoholic beverages promoted by celebrities. And we see the celebrities below, but they may not be in the correct order. That's up for you to decide. Can you link the correct famous actor or musician to each of the brands? And the brands are shown above. So we have A. Armand de Brignac Champagne, B. Terramana Tequila, C. Miraval Wines, and D. Aviation Gin. And then you can choose from 1. The Rock, 2. Brad Pitt, 3. Ryan Reynolds, and 4. Jay-Z. So you write down A, B, C, D, and then the number of the person you believe to match that particular beverage that they are promoting / producing next to each letter. Question number 9. This photo shows one of the richest and most powerful men in Brazil, Tane Chiquinho Scarpa, who made waves a few years ago when he announced plans to bury his $1 million Bentley so he could drive around the afterlife in style. He received a lot of mostly negative media attention and a lot of criticism for this extravagant gesture. But he still went ahead with the ceremony. Moments before the burial was to take place, he stopped it and announced his real motive, which was to raise awareness for a particular cause. What was he trying to raise awareness for, is my question to you. So with the burial of this $1 million Bentley, what was he trying to raise awareness for? And last but not least, you can earn 1 more point on this round if you can tell me what arrived in the United States in 350 pieces, packed into 214 crates, aboard the French naval vessel Isère on the 17th of June of the year 1885. So what was packed into those crates and arrived in the United States in 1885 is our final question to you on round 4. And that's it. You've made it through our second round of mixed bag questions. For today's quiz, we're going to give you a bit more wrap-up time before we dive into those answers. And then after that, we have a theme round coming your way and music, of course. Okay, and we are back. It's time to swap sheets once more. If you are in a local competition, here come the answers for round number 4. In terms of area, the largest nation to have not hosted a FIFA World Cup or Olympic Games to date is India. Quite a large country indeed. I hope you got that for the first point. Number 2, the 4 fermented foods were worth half a point each. That Sardinian sheep cheese with the maggots is known as kasu marzu. Now, of course, you don't have to be super strict with the spelling. If it looks like the correct answer, you can award yourselves half a point there. Next up, we had stinky tofu. That is the actual name of this dish. Those eggs are known as century eggs. And then finally, that thick paste from Japan, that is miso, which is also used in miso soup, of course. So half a point each on all of these. The picture connection. We see the late, great Chadwick Boseman. We see Chad Kruger of Nickelback. We see the country Chad, which we, of course, photoshopped out because otherwise it would have been a bit too on the nose. And Chad from Saturday Night Live. So Chad was in the name of each of these people and nations and characters. Number 4, the sporting numbers in the proper order. Well, you should have started with the golf bag, which holds 14 clubs. Then it's on to the Aussie Rules team, which has 18 players on the field at the start of a game. There are 22 balls on a snooker table. And finally, tennis court to the nearest hole meter is 24 meters. It's actually 23.77 if you want to be exact. And thus the correct answer was BCAD. BCAD for the point here. Number 5, the 3 books that have a geographical feature in the title. Here we have it. So it is The Magic Mountain, Thomas Mann, Dennis Lehaney's Mystic River, also turned into a really fantastic film, and Malcolm Lowry, Under the Volcano. So the mountain, the river, and the volcano were our mystery geographical features for half a point each. Number 6, the chair is the one and only Barcelona chair. Barcelona chair for that expo that was held there in 1929. Number 7, we were looking for the name of the dam, and this is the Aswan Dam that we showed you and described for you. Number 8, the alcoholic beverages promoted by celebrities. Well, here we have them in the proper order. The first one is Armand de Brignac, which is promoted by Jay-Z. So A and 4 was the proper connection here for half a point. The Rock is the one you should have linked to the Terramana Tequila, B1. Brad Pitt is famous for owning Miraval wines. He used to co-own it with Angelina Jolie, but that didn't work out for them, sadly. And then Ryan Reynolds and Aviation Gin. So D2 was the final connection for another half a point there. Tane Chiquinho Scarpa, what was he trying to raise awareness for? Well, what he said when he finally stopped the ceremony, the burial of this ridiculously expensive car, he said, people condemn me because I wanted to bury $1 million Bentley. But in fact, most people bury something more valuable than my car. They bury hearts, lungs, livers, eyes, and kidneys. This is absurd. So many people are waiting for a transplant, and you bury your healthy organs that could save so many lives. So it was his rather clever attempt to get people to donate their organs. That was the cause we were in search of for 1 point. For number 10, what arrived in 350 pieces in the US aboard that French naval vessel in 1885? This did. The Statue of Liberty was packed into those crates, and then they assembled it on site once it arrived in New York. So that is your final answer, your final point, giving us a grand total of 12.5 points once more that you could have earned on this round. Do a quick calculation so you can add it towards your grand total, and don't forget to share it with everyone on the chat if you're joining us live. And with that, it is time for another themed round. It's not Answer Smash this time around. What have we done? It is anagrammed answers that are coming your way. So it's 2 questions once more, and the answers are anagrams of one another. That means if you get one but you don't quite know the other, you can shuffle the letters in that first answer around to get your second answer. So hopefully that will help you out a bit. Let's get you cracking. A round of anagrammed answers. And again, here we're giving you the points as 1 point for both, because that's what we hope you'll be able to achieve. But obviously, you can award yourself half points if you don't manage to get everything here. For number 1, we're taking an English dessert, which consists of sponge fingers, sherry, custard, fruit, and whipped cream for part 1 of the answer. And then the next part of the answer is an appearance-altering digital image effect, often used on social media. So 2 words that are anagrams of one another. Give me the name of this English dessert and that appearance-altering digital image effect. On to number 2, with a bit of history on the first part here. The Roman senator, known for ending his speeches with the sentence, "Carthage must be destroyed," is the first answer we seek. And then the second one is the traditional Mexican food, which consists of a tortilla topped with a filling. So the Roman senator for half a point, and then the Mexican food consisting of a tortilla topped with filling. That is an anagram of that senator's name for another half a point. Number 3. For this one, we start off with an essential nutrient for the human body. It's found in grains. It's also in beans, in meat and dairy products. So that is part 1 of the answer. Part 2 is shuffle the letters of answer 1 around, and you get a medium-sized breed of dog that was developed in England. So the essential nutrient and the breed of dog for half a point each. For number 4, we start with the name of an archipelago that's part of the Caribbean nation with the capital Kingstown. And for the second part of this question, you shuffle the letters in its name around to get the act of bringing a musical ode to somebody. So if you bring a musical ode to somebody, what are you doing is the second half of the question. On to number 5. For this one, we begin with an unleavened flatbread. That's an integral element of the Passover festival. So the Jewish Passover festival, this flatbread is an integral element of. And then we shuffle the letters in that answer around to give us the name of a protective suit, for instance, worn by firefighters or by paramedics. For number 6, we kick off with a furry red Muppet character from Sesame Street. And we shuffle the letters in their name around a bit to give us a small mammal, which is adapted specifically to a subterranean lifestyle. So take that Muppet monster from Sesame Street, a furry red one, and then shuffle it around a bit to give you a mammal adapted to subterranean living. For number 7, bodegas or enotecas are both examples of this word that I seek for the first part of your answer. For the second part of the answer, you shuffle the letters in that word around a bit and you end up with a seminar that's organized online. So you end up with a seminar organized online for number 7. For number 8, we start with the 2013 Disney Pixar film, which is a spin-off from the Cars franchise. So it's not Cars, it's something else. It was a spin-off of Cars. And then for the second part of this answer, I'm looking for the third largest city in Italy. So the third largest city in Italy will earn you the other half a point here. For number 9, we start with a dance move in which both arms are raised in a parallel direction. It was popularized as a meme around 2015. That is the first part of your answer. Then you shuffle the name of that dance move around a bit and you end up with the title of a 1987 album by Michael Jackson. So name that dance move and the Michael Jackson album. For number 10, we end on a small, furry, mammaloid biped which inhabits the forest moon of Endor in the wonderful world of Star Wars. So that's what we start off with, the name of this species here. And then we will also take, for another half a point, the adjective meaning alert to racial prejudice and discrimination. So if someone's really alert to racial prejudice and discrimination, what would we call such a person? And then if you shuffle that around, you get the name of that small furry creature that lives on Endor in Star Wars. And that's it. You've made it through 5 rounds. One more to go. But before we get to that music round, we'll give you a bit more wrap-up time, have a joint look at those answers, and then it's straight into music we dive after that. Okie-doke, we're back. Time to swap sheets once more on round number 5. Here we go with those anagrammed answers. And as mentioned before, it's going to have that 1-point marker on it. But if you struggled a little bit and got half answers left and right, feel free to award yourselves half points here. For number 1, the English dessert is trifle. And that digital imaging effect I was in search of is a filter. Trifle and filter. Anagrams of one another that earn you the point on number 1. For number 2, we had a Roman senator and a Mexican dish that are anagrams of one another. I was in search of Cato and taco. Cato and taco for the next point here. And number 3, the essential nutrient, which means a breed of dog developed in England that is protein and the pointer. Protein and pointer. Again, half point each. 1 point if you got both. Number 4, the archipelago. Kingstown is the capital, and the act of bringing a musical ode to somebody was the other half of this answer. The Grenadines and serenading. Serenading and the Grenadines for 1 point in total. Number 5, that unleavened flatbread. It's an integral element of the Passover festival, and then also the name of that protective suit. It's the matzah and the hazmat suit. So matzah and hazmat. Again, anagrams of one another for number 5. Number 6, the one and only legendary furry red Muppet monster, Elmo. Who else could it be? And the mole is an anagram of Elmo. Elmo and mole for number 6. Number 7, bodegas and inotecas, places that I like to spend time in when I get the chance. These are wine bars. So wine bar, and the other half of the answer was the webinar. So wine bar and webinar for number 7. The spin-off of the movie Cars that I was in search of is called Planes, and that is an anagram of Naples, which is the 3rd largest city in Italy. Number 9, that dance move. It became a meme around 2015, and if you shuffle it around a bit, you get that album. The album's bad, and the move is a dab. So dab and bad gave you the next point on this round. And for the final point, all you Star Wars fans out there, of course, had no trouble identifying the Ewok, which is an anagram of woke. That was the second half of this answer. Ewok and woke for the final point on this round. And I do hope there are a few teams who actually managed to score a perfect 10 on this round. It would be impressive. There were some tricky ones in there. Now's the time to let the guys on the chat as well as Keto know if you indeed managed to do that or how you did, and more importantly, if you enjoyed this round. And then as soon as you've calculated your scores, we're going to take you into the music round. Okay, time for music round number 6 coming your way. As always, we would like from you, for each of the clips you're about to hear, the song title as well as the performing artist or band. You get half a point for each artist and half a point for each song title. Why have we dubbed this round Decade Hopping? Well, because that is precisely what we'll be doing. We had a look, we thought it would be fun to do something different at singles that were released exactly 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 years ago this year. So for 2023, we're going back in time 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 years. That means from each of those years, so starting with 1973 as the earliest one, we're going to do 2 songs from each of those years. So it's a nice division of decades and hopefully something for everyone. That's what we're aiming for with this music round. So as always, you get to listen to each clip once and only once. Make it count. After the clip is played, it goes into a time ticker, allowing you to discuss the answer and to write it down. And then it automatically goes into the next song. So I won't be disturbing you with any chatter this round. I'll just let you enjoy the music round in peace and report back to you at the end to reveal what the correct answers should have been.
Well, now Brian's gone out the window, crossed the rooftops, run away. Left me in the vacuum of my heart. What is happening to me? Crazy, some say.
Into the nighttime, 4 walls won't hold me tonight. If this town is just an apple, then let me take a bite. If they say why?
But every song's like gold teeth, gray goose dripping in the bathroom, bloodstains, ball gowns, trash in the hotel room. We don't care. We're driving Cadillacs in our dreams. But everybody's like crystal, Maybach, diamonds on your timepiece, jet planes, islands, tigers on a gold leash. We don't care. We aren't caught up in your love affair.
I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, baby.
I know you think that I shouldn't still love you or tell you that. But if I didn't say it, well, I'd still have felt it. Where's the sense in that?
Okay, welcome back. Time to make that very last swap of answer sheets if you're in a local competition, because it's time for the very last set of answers that we have for you on today's quiz. We're nearing the finish line. For the music round, it's half point each on those song titles and artists, and this is what you should have written down. For number one, it was 1993 was the year of release for this one, Duran Duran's Ordinary World. Next up, for number two, it was the 80s. 1983 was the release for Michael Jackson's Human Nature. Number three, 2013, a big hit in that year was Royals by Lorde. Lorde, Royals, half a point each. And for number six, we went back to 1973 with none other than Marvin Gaye. Let's Get It On is the name of that song. Number five, 2003, a smash hit in that year for Dido. The name of the song is White Flag. And number six, this was certainly also a smash hit. Back in 1993, it was for Culture Beat, Mr. Vane. Number seven, 2013, this was a Beyonce song. It's a pretty successful cover. It was also released. Beyonce, and the name of the song is XO, XO 2013. And then we go back to the 70s. It's 1973, and Paul Simon releases Kodachrome for half point each. Paul Simon and Kodachrome. Number nine, it was 1983 when Irene Cara released Flashdance. What a Feeling, an award-winning song. She passed away not too long ago, so this one's for you, Irene. And for number six, number 10 on round six is what I'm trying to say here. Coldplay with Clocks, a massive hit in 2003. So that was all 10 of them. And with that, we've covered all of your answers. But please stay tuned for a little bit longer, because I do have an announcement to share with you about this quiz, but about the future, more importantly, of global online quizzing. So, for you, it's important to know, as always, that the maximum score on today's quiz was 65 points, and we warmly invite you to share your results. You can do that through the official link here, so we can include you in that ranking. So please don't forget to share your results, so we can include you. That would be great fun. As always, if you're rewatching this quiz at a later time, you have 2 full weeks to do that. So in this case, until the 6th of February, when that ranking goes online on the website and on our socials, you have time to submit your score. So we warmly invite you to do that. And with that, we arrive at the announcement that I wanted to share with you, because that ranking, I am very sorry to have to inform you, will be the last ranking that we're going to publish for now. As you've probably all noticed, those rankings, especially during the pandemic, used to include hundreds of teams from all over the globe joining the fun and submitting their scores. And that was wonderful. And of course, as measures related to the pandemic were lifted, then yes, understandably, those numbers have dropped a bit over the recent period. And we're now getting to a point where we basically have more teams attending our weekly international quiz night here in Eindhoven in the Netherlands than we do submitting their scores for the global online quiz. And this quiz takes about 10 times longer, I dare say without exaggeration, to produce than that one does. So I realize I'm saying this to the very teams who have remained loyal throughout it all, who are here right now enjoying this quiz, and it has been such a pleasure hosting them for you. And of course, those loyal teams are still submitting their scores and leaving these wonderful comments for us to read. And it has been an absolute pleasure reading them every single month. Do not misunderstand me. But we have to be fair. Number 42 is a small company with a small core team that does big jobs, big online and offline quizzes we host for various companies. And on top of that, some very large projects and events every year that we organize and that we also have to pour a lot of effort and love into. And because it's such a small core team, it's simply not possible to keep making this quiz on top of everything else that's going on without other projects or our private lives being affected. And so it pains me to have to tell you we are stopping the global online quiz for now. This is going to be, for now, the final one that we've produced for you. And I really do hope you enjoyed it very much and you're not too sad about that. Let's remember the good times we had together. And also, there is a bit of good news to be had as well. There's a core team here at number 42 that still firmly believes in the potential of global online quizzing. But what we need to do is find a way to bring it to a larger audience in order to make it succeed. And we have some great ideas on how to do that, but we need a bit of time and energy to focus on that. And we can't do that with everything else going on, which is why we've made this decision for now. There's actually a plan in place to perhaps combine this digital experience with physical quizzing in different locations all around Europe. And that is something that we're going to be actively exploring in the coming months and then hopefully reporting back to you on. And if we manage to do that, that means that the quiz will once again, you'll be able to enjoy it worldwide and hopefully also live in certain select venues across Europe. So those plans are in motion and we'll be spending a bit more time in the coming months working on that. So I genuinely hope to be returning to you later this year with good news of a new and improved online quizzing concept. Please make sure that we can reach you. So make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter, that you're signed up on our socials so that we can update you as soon as we have news to share. I want to say it's been an absolute privilege hosting these quizzes for you. It's been a really special experience connecting with all these people all around the globe. Doing that, and for you joining us live, we do have Guido available for you on the chat for a bit of emotional support. I luckily have Bob here backstage to share my misery with me, because please believe me when I say this was no easy decision to make, but I think in the long run it will prove to be the right one, because it's going to free up new opportunities for us, and hopefully that will be something that we can share with you in the future. So that means that for now, the time has come for Bob and I to say goodbye to you from the studio here in Eindhoven. Now, this is not a final farewell. I'm really confident that we will meet up again in the future and enjoy a lot more trivia together. So for now, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Until we meet again, it's bye-bye from us in the studio. Bye, guys.
Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful and also be the hit of the party? Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced.